Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome along to Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. We've got the Leeds Manchester United game for you first of all, and then after that, we've got the big Carabao Cup final as well. See, I almost said the Carling Cup final. That's just how far back I remember it being. But of course, that's a little bit later. This one is Leeds and Manchester United, and we've got Matt Isles in the commentary seat for this game. And I'm going to probably bring him straight in, to be honest, because I know we've only got about 9 minutes to kick off. And Matt, first of all, good afternoon. How are you doing? And, this is going to be an interesting game, especially the way that Leeds have played and the results they've got in the last few.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, Mike. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, it's a very interesting game, isn't it? I mean, obviously, what really stretches back into my mind was obviously they met each other in December. There was a lot of anticipation about it because these are two real big rivals. And obviously, Man United really wiped the floor with Leeds that day, sort of thrashing them 6-2, wasn't it? So obviously, 4 months on, it does just have that feel of it being a very different game. It feels like Leeds have really sort of grown from that. And obviously, they know that they can play against these big sides. Obviously, in the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks, they've beaten Manchester City, they've beaten, they've drawn with Liverpool, drawn with Chelsea. So they are very much capable of playing these sides and really giving them a run for their money. So it's a very interesting game we've got on our hands at Ellen Road this afternoon.
And of course, this goes back years as well. This rivalry between Leeds and Manchester United, it goes back a long, long time. And it's going to be really interesting because, of course, Manchester United have a big cup semi-final in the week as well. So what are the two sort of lineups? Manchester United gone full strength? They're not sort of taking it lightly at all?
No, they're absolutely not. They're seeing this game, and obviously they know that they want to just try and keep the title race going as much as they can. Obviously, with Manchester City not playing, they can close the gap down to 8 points, obviously, with this game in hand that Manchester City will have to fulfill. But obviously, he's gone with a pretty much full-strength team. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, I'll read them out as the team sort of come onto the pitch at Ellen Road. But it's a very much a strong side. And, of course, as you rightly pointed out, there is that Europa League semi-final first leg against Roma to come on Tuesday on Thursday at Old Trafford. So he has very much gone with the full strength side, and he feels as though this is an opportunity for them to keep going and keep the momentum going to take into that semi-final. And obviously he sees Leeds as a real dangerous opponent.
And of course, you've got to as well. If you look at Marcelo Bielsa, a really good manager. Even in that 6-2, Leeds were, they were good going forward. They looked like they could have scored a few more going forward, but of course they had errors that they really needed to cut out at the back. But in terms of Leeds, as I said before, they've had a good couple of weeks, and I think they just want more of the same. As for Manchester United, do you think the title really is beyond them now, or do you think there is still a little bit of slim hope?
I think it is beyond them, Mike. I think obviously it's still too big a gap to make up, obviously. I feel with Manchester United, they are just every sort of week, they are just making more progress, aren't they? I mean, I don't think Solskjaer probably gets as much credit. He probably slightly more deserves, of course. He is at a massive football club, as everybody knows, in Manchester United. It's an institution. It's a club who, in the era of when he played under Fergie, was winning countless trophies year on, year out. That sort of faded away. I mean, their last trophy was the Europa League 4 years ago. So he is somebody that I think needs to try and get the trophies. He's got the winning mentality. He's certainly got the players, I think. He just needs to start getting the trophies on the board. But in terms of the league title, I do think it is beyond them. I think it is gone. I think Manchester City have just got too big a gap for them to really close down. But it's just a case for them now of just trying to keep it alive just that little bit longer and just putting a little bit of pressure on Manchester City.
And then, of course, with Leeds as well, I think for them it's just to try and finish as high as possible. Now they're sort of, they're 10th in the table if my stats are correct. And, there's still a few games to go. Where do you reckon they could end up finishing? Do you reckon they could still have a bit of a push and maybe get into, the Europa League possibly?
Well, it's certainly something you can't rule out. I mean, we have seen before with teams over the Premier League in the last few years that if you do have a really good run to the end of the season, you can sneak in there. I do think it might just possibly be a little bit beyond them. But I think if you asked any Leeds United supporter on that first game of the season when they played Liverpool, they would have took a 10th place finish on their return back. They'd been a breath of fresh air coming in. There was a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement about Bielsa and this Leeds side coming into the Premier League. How would they do? How would they fare? And they've been an absolutely superb addition. So they can get into the European places. But of course, as we saw, Chelsea got into 4th place. They've sort of further cemented that. You've got West Ham in there. You've got Everton. You've got Liverpool as well. And obviously Spurs. It might just, as I said, be that bridge a little bit too far for them at the moment. But it is a case, I think Bielsa probably knows in his mind that it is beyond them and he's trying to embrace it. And obviously, they've played Chelsea, they've played Liverpool, they've played Manchester City in the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks and really given a good account of themselves and have taken, 5 points from those 9 available. So, they're going in the right direction. It is just a case now of just, I think, enjoying the rest of the campaign for them, as you rightly pointed out, Mike.
And of course, this is the second game of the afternoon as well. Burnley got a 4-0 victory away at Wolverhampton Wanderers, for anyone that wanted to know the score in that one. And it's a good result for Burnley. I know JB, who commentated on one of the games last week, I think it was, for the Cup. He's a big Burnley fan, and I'm sure he's delighted dancing around the living room with the fact that Chris Wood got himself a hat-trick and they got a nice convincing win there at Wolves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Burnley, we usually associate them with quite sort of renowned defensive football. It is quite hard to see them score 2 at times, let alone hitting, double that. But to hit 4 at Wolves is fantastic for them. Not many sides go to Wolves and are able to really, impose themselves. But obviously, it just was one of those days for Burnley where everything just fell into place for them.
Okay, so how long have we got? Got about 2 minutes until kickoff, I believe. So is there any sign of the teams yet, or they're still just a minute away?
I'll just check it for you now. I do believe they're actually heading out to the field of play, Mike, as well.
Okay, so I'll hand over to you then. You can go through the lineups and then we can get into the commentary itself. So over to you, Matt, and I'll be back on at half time to give you a bit of a breather as well.
Thank you very much, Mike. Well, one of the Premier League and English football's old rivalries renews once more as Leeds United face Manchester United in a clash known as the War of the Roses, of course, which of course dates back to the 15th century, where the White Rose for the House of York was in a war against the Red Rose for the House of Lancaster. And of course, centuries on and hundreds of years later, both these clubs, of course, who supporters would tell one another there is a real grudge and a real hatred between some sets of supporters, as they feel that this is the match every year that when they do play, which has been very scarce over the last sort of 16 years, 17 years, playing each other, there is that sense they want to always beat each other. I'll just go through the lineups. Leeds are unchanged from the side that drew 1-1 on Monday night. It's Illan Meslier in goal, Ayling, Strauch, Llorente and Alioski, the back 4, Phillips, Dallas, and it looks like they're going to be the 2 holding midfielders, Harrison, Robertson, Costa, the 3 attacking with their top goal scorer, Patrick Bamford, leading the line for Leeds this afternoon. The subs, Casilla, Koch, Berardi, Shackleton, Cleek, Crescencio, Somerville, Pablo Hernandez, Ian Poveda, and Sam Greenwood comes onto the bench, looking to make his first Premier League appearance. Manchester United, one change for them is Dean Henderson in goal. The same back 4 as last week against Burnley. Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw. And before I read the rest of the teams out, of course, the taking of the knee, as, of course, we are trying to eradicate that as well, of course, on Football Commentary Live, as you can see at the bottom, our banner being black, as Bruno Fernandes gets this game underway with Victor Lindelof sending it forward in the Leeds half. Shaw heads it down to Fred. The remainder of the team, Fred, McTominay is the 2 other midfielders. Dan James, Fernandes and Greenwood are the attackers, with Marcus Rashford leading the line for United. And they have an early attack here as Greenwood tries to play it to Rashford, but it's cut up by Leeds. His defence is Fred in the corner on that left-hand side as he's been bundled over there by Tyler Roberts, as United have got a free kick, I believe, just on that side, 35 seconds in. So it is a first opportunity, perhaps, for the visitors to strike at Illan Mellier's goal. He scored early on in the first fixture back in December, in by Fernandes. Greenwood with the flick on, but it's an easy one for Illan Mellier to save. Well, it was whipped in well by Fernandes. He saw Greenwood, who made that run just by the penalty spot. He directed the header on target, but it was straightforward for Illan Mellier. Of course, Mason Greenwood has been in a real vein of form at the moment. He has scored in his last 3 Premier League games, scoring 4 in that time. He scored 2 against Burnley last weekend. He scored against Tottenham and even found the net against Brighton as well in his last 3 games. Here is for Leeds now, Llorente. Of course, opened his Premier League account on Monday in that draw with Liverpool, the champions. And Tyler Roberts is ushered out of play by the Manchester United skipper, Harry Maguire. We are 2 minutes in here at Ellen Road. It is Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0. And of course, United 11 points behind their City rivals in blue, who of course don't play in the Premier League this weekend. They of course are in the League Cup final, which of course will be shown straight after this game on Football Commentary Live with me in the commentary seat for that. Here come Leeds with Jack Harrison. He played youth football for Manchester United. Stuart Dallas with the ball out to Luke Ayling, a man who has played every single game in the Premier League so far this campaign. Wan-Bissaka heads it behind him. Alioski trying to get onto the end of it, and Dan James clears it out for a throw. And who, of course, was nearly a Leeds player just over 2 years ago. Of course, he agreed a £15 million move on those lines from Swansea, while, of course, they were chasing promotion from the Championship in Bielsa's first season. The deal was pretty much close to being completed. It just took the final little bit of paperwork, but, of course, Swansea meant, of course, them wanting more money meant the deal didn't go through. And, of course, Dan James never went to Leeds and he went to Manchester United and has shown good glimpses of what he can do and why he was brought in. Wan-Bissaka throws it to Lindelof, who sends it forward at the first time of asking, but sends it out for a throw-in. Not the best of clearances there by Lindelof. He really didn't get his foot underneath it, that has to be said. Alioski with the throw-in. Now to Bamford, who comes short. Alioski gets it once more. Manages to play on the outside of his foot to Llorente. To Luke Ayling. Now Stuart Dallas. Of course, scored in that game at Old Trafford back in December and did also score against Manchester City 15 days ago in that last gasp win at the Etihad, as he's won a free kick as he was barged in the back there. The man in all black is Craig Pawson, remember. And it is now a chance for Leeds to send the men up from the back. Yep, Raul Llorente is one of them, of course, looking to repeat the feat of scoring on Monday night against Liverpool. It is going to be Phillips with the free kick. Not the best delivery. Fred clears it away as it bounces off his thigh. They need to have it in possession once more with Dallas. Now to Gianni Alioski. Here is Tyler Roberts, yet to score a Premier League goal for the Yorkshire club, or for any club for that fact. Bamford tries to play it forward to Harrison, but it's gone well beyond him. He tries to win it back off Fred, but he's able to just hook it away from Bamford as he plays it to McTominay. He gets fouled in his own area, and it's a Man United free kick. But early on, 5 minutes in, there is an urgency from both sides to try and win the balls. Wan-Bissaka carries it from his own half inside Leeds' area now. He's got no one to really pick out. He crosses in. It's a deep cross. Phillips heads it away. Then Helder Costa then gets a second head away to it as it goes for a United throw on this left-hand side as they attack the North Stand, which, of course, is named after the great Don Revie, who, of course, put Leeds in a fantastic position. And of course, the 60s and the 70s. Of course, he left to go to be the England manager, which was an ill-fated spell. Here is Wan-Bissaka down the line to McTominay. He's up against Strout, who does really well to stand his ground and take the ball off him there. Harrison gives it to Alioski, who will no doubt clear that ball forward, which he does. Tyler Roberts battling with Maguire. Maguire comes out on top in that duel. Here's Fred. In the middle now with Rashford. Not the best return back to Fred, who decides to knock it back to Dean Henderson, wearing a dark black kit with orange socks. So a change of socks in that regard for Dean Henderson. Of course, Leeds in their traditional all-white strip. United in their red, black. So, of course, they won't have the short colour clash. But that's a lovely ball through to Rashford, who's onside. He took it under control, went to the right, but he just sliced it as he has hit that shot well off target. But Lindelof picked him out. Maguire got in between Llorente and Ayling. Ayling put his arm up pretty quickly to say he was offside. The linesman on that side, Ian Hussein, kept his flag down, and Rashford will probably feel he should have done a lot better there. No doubt about that. He's just playing it short from this goal kick. Here's Phillips, now Ayling. Looks forward to try and get Helder Costa on the go. A little bit beyond him. Maguire plays it to Henderson as he overhit that pass, but luckily there was no Leeds player in any sort of width or any sort of close proximity to Henderson there. Alioski clears it forward. Fred then just calmly gets it under control and gives it back to Dean Henderson as the United keeper sprays out to the left with Shaw, who's unable to keep that ball in play. And Leeds United have a throw, and he was closed down very, very quickly. There was Luke Shaw. There must have been 3 Leeds United players just closing him down and making it very, very difficult for him. Ayling gives it to Dallas. Dallas gives it to the thrower, Ayling once more. Llorente knocks it back to Illan Meslier. You're listening to Football Commentary Live, home of alternative commentary. Remember, we have got another game for you this afternoon. I'll be bringing you live commentary of the Carabao Cup final as Tottenham entertain Manchester City, who, of course, are looking to win it for a 4th straight time under Pep Guardiola. As Rashford blocks Ayling's ball forward. We are 8.5 minutes in here at Ellen Road. It is Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0. Well, previous meetings between these two, Leeds' last win in the Premier League did come at Ellen Road. They won 1-0 in September 2002 with Harry Kewell scoring ahead of there. That was, of course, during the start of Leeds' financial turmoil, which, of course, they took several years to recover from as they chased the Champions League dream, which ultimately saw that sell off their assets and pretty much, pretty quickly, rapidly fall off a cliff, if you like. As Leeds have got a free kick there. As Craig Pawson spots something that he didn't like. Llorente takes it short to Illan Meslier, the young French goalkeeper. He gives it now to Strout. Gianni Alioski been put under pressure by Dan James as it has gone Leeds United's way, that throwing down that Leeds United left-hand side. Tyler Roberts is fouled in the middle of the pitch, and it is a free kick to Leeds in their half once more. As they take short again, Llorente out to Alioski. Leeds, as we know, like to play on the front foot and play with so much intensity and be so aggressive when they go forward. We haven't quite seen that yet in 10 minutes, but whenever they have had the chance to restart, they have tried to take it quickly and get that ball moving. Here's Ayling. Bit of a heavy first touch, but did just about keep that in as he realised that he was in a real battle to keep that in. Shaw skips away from Dallas, but he can't get away from Ayling. Still manages to keep it at his feet, but then lets it run out of play for a Manchester United throw-in who've really attacked Luke Ayling's side in the opening 10.5 minutes here at Ellen Road. Of course, if you are just tuning in to Football Commentary Live, the only opportunity of real note was Marcus Rashford's one, and that was one that he completely dragged wide of the goal. Fernandes to Rashford. Fernandes nearly got it back, but Ayling fouls Marcus Rashford. It was a doubt coming into this game, remember, and United have a free kick right near the corner of Leeds' right-hand side of the box. Ayling just goes into the back of Rashford there. Plays it quickly to Fernandes. Ayling just a few seconds behind it there and goes into the back of him. The first free kick, Fernandes whipped in, picked up Mason Greenwood, which ultimately was a shot on target. And he was in no danger, any trouble for Illan Meslier. What will this free kick bring now for the Red Devils? It will be Fernandes to take once more. He whips it in. It's gone through. Bounced off Harry Maguire, who didn't know a lot about it, to be perfectly honest with you, as the ball sails over Illan Meslier's goal for a Leeds United goal kick. Well, Maguire makes the run. He just gets in front of Strauch and just comes off his knee, doesn't he? He tries to almost turn into it to just direct it at goal, but he was unable to do so there. Here is now Fernandes. Now to Mason Greenwood. We know what he's going to do. He's trying to go on his left foot. Alioski knew exactly what he was doing and cuts it out. United still have possession here, though, with Scott McTominay. He now plays it to Harry Maguire. Gets away from Bamford. This is a really good run by Maguire. Here's Dan James. Now Marcus Rashford. Tried to go and get away from Ayling. Leeds United just can't get it out at the moment. Phillips bounces it against Rashford. It comes back into him. And he is able to send it forward to Helder Costa, who was out-muscled there. He tried his best to just keep going and stay on his feet, but he was unable to do so as United were able to give it back to Henderson, who then knocks it out to the right with Greenwood and wins a throw as it comes off Gianni Alioski. Here is the Leeds-born player, Mason Greenwood, who has really shown this season what an exciting talent he could be, and he has really brought himself into the attention of people all across this country. As Dan James is dispossessed by Llorente, who's been involved so far in the opening 13 minutes. It was an overhit ball by Jack Harrison looking for Helder Costa, and Leeds, we've been a little bit too sloppy at the moment in possession. They get it back and then they just send it forward, and there's that shout from Marcelo Bielsa as he goes back to his knees once more, which is becoming a real iconic image and sort of iconic mannerism that he has just developed ever since he came to England and has done throughout his career. That's lovely play between Rashford and Greenwood down this Leeds United left-hand side, which sees Ayling tackle Marcus Rashford as United get a throw in. Luke Shaw is the man going over to take the throw in. Greenwood and Llorente were just having a bit of a battle there, and as Greenwood sort of lost his footing, throw-in is taken. Llorente does well to win it off Greenwood. He clips it forward for Bamford over his head. It was over Maguire's head, and it went on through to Lindelof, who gives it back to Henderson. Henderson then gives it back to Lindelof, so he comes all the way out of his area to play it short to the Swedish centre-back, who even scored one of the goals in that 6-2 win against Leeds back in December. Another one is McTominay, got a brace that day, but he loses out. Phillips tries to play it forward to Bamford, but he's unable to pick out the Leeds striker. It was cut out by Fred. Phillips gets it back once more and sends it out for a throw-in. And it's a momentary pause in the game, which has been so fast-paced. And United have got a throw-in inside their own half. And Wan-Bissaka takes it to Fernandes. Dwelled on the ball a little bit too long there. Phillips won it off him, but Wan-Bissaka is able to bring it out very, very well there. The Manchester United right back. Here's Maguire. Shaw. Henderson has it once more. They don't tend to go and press Dean Henderson or any opposition goalkeeper for that fat Leeds United. They do very much their pressing in the midfield where they just hunt down the opposition to not allow them to play the ball forward. Maguire plays it forward for Rashford, despite slipping, picks him out. Rashford tries to just knock it inside. Llorente knew exactly what he was trying to do and slides in to come across. He can't get it away. Fred doing well to win it back. Fernandez slides it through to James, who got a toe to it, but he just couldn't get that under close control, and it rolls on through to Meslier, who then rolls it out to Gianni Alioski, who you will be seeing at the European Championships this summer. Should he, of course, not pick up an injury between now and June, as he, of course, will be playing for North Macedonia, who, of course, have qualified for the very first time. Congratulations to them. Here is now Dan James, Mason Greenwood, looking for an option forward, but he decides to play it to Fred, who was just in front of him. Here's Lindelof. Wan-Bissaka then gives it to Dean Henderson, who's so far seen a lot of the ball for Manchester United in the goal. Well, already by this point in the game, Manchester United were 2-0 up, with McTominay scoring. And then, of course, Fernandez scored a third inside 20 minutes, which really shocked Leeds that day. Of course, they are a side who do not change for anybody under Marcelo Bielsa, and they have been a welcome addition to the top flight, of course, in what was their first season in 16 years. It is a throw into United, once again down that left-hand side. What has been a frantic 15 minutes, you could say, but with no opportunities to really shout about. Here's Harrison now for the hosts. Dallas to Pascal Struijk. Llorente. Of course, they are missing Liam Cooper, who's serving the second of his 3 match suspension. He is serving the second of his 2 match suspension. He was sent off at Manchester City in rather controversial circumstances, it has to be said. Missed the Liverpool draw, as it was, of course, Llorente and Struijk who were at the back that night on Monday, and did well to only concede the 1 against Liverpool. Struijk has it once more as Leeds are having possession at the back. Now with Meslier. Here's Llorente. Has struggled for regular game time. And he made his debut back in the latter part of 2020, did Diego Llorente. He did make his debut against Chelsea in December. Dallas with the header in the middle to Costa. Sends it forward looking for Tyler Roberts. Away by Wan-Bissaka. Alioski plays it on the half volley to Harrison. First time we're going to see him have a run at the United defence. Lindelof comes across. Tried to find Bamford. There's shouts of a handball. Craig Paulson not interested. It was off Luke Shaw, in fact, there. Did look like it might have just brushed his chest. Harrison played the ball, looking for Bamford. It does go off the arm of Luke Shaw. Is not trying to move that in any way at all. It is going to VAR. He does sort of just keep his arm in there. There's not really a lot he can do. Craig Paulson has received the word in his ear. The man on VAR is Mike Dean, who concludes that it's no penalty. And I think you have to say that is the right decision in this instance. We're up to the first 20 minutes of this game at Ellen Road. It's Manchester United 0, Leeds United 0, as Leeds have got a free kick as Ayling was fouled. Calvin Phillips will take. United have got a high line right on the edge of the right on the edge of the 18-yard box. The ball has come in. Wan-Bissaka heads it away. Here's Alioski. Slides it through to Tyler Roberts, who's been forced to go wide. Plays it to Harrison, who's crossed his block. It's come to Bamford. Crowded out there by Maguire. Bamford goes down. Maguire had to be really careful there that he didn't foul the Leeds number 9 just about did enough. Harrison gets it in this time. McTominay clears the edge of the box. Dallas went for the shot, but got it all wrong and instead sort of miskicked it. Leeds still have it here with Phillips. Plays it to the left with Alioski. Roberts. Phillips. Nice build-up play this by Leeds. Will it result in a chance? Out toward Ayling. Fernandez just ducked there as it went on through to Luke Ayling. And then the ball goes in by Ayling. Fred clears. Rashford tried to play it away from Phillips, but it cannons off him. And Leeds get it back instantly there, as they now have possession with their centre-back, Llorente. He receives it once more from Phillips. Here is the Leeds number 23, and of course he is a man who Gareth Southgate has picked for England over the last year. He's someone who you probably feel now has sealed his place in the European Championship squad. Here is Llorente to Strauch. Lovely ball out to the left with Harrison, who's starting to come into this game a little bit more. Crosses in. And he's run on through to Henderson, but the flag is raised by the linesman Harry Leonard on that far left-hand side of the pitch. We didn't really see that in the opening sort of 15 minutes. Lee's getting out to Jack Harrison, but in the last 5 minutes or so, we are starting to see him heavily involved a little bit more. Of course, his cross, which he looked for Bamford, which brushed the arm of Luke Shaw, did result in a VAR checking it. But ultimately, Mike Dean, who told Craig Pawson in his ear that the check was complete and there was no need for him to give a penalty. Here's Fred out to Luke Shaw, just well to take that under control. He knocks it away from Ayling, who came right out of his defensive zone to try and close him down. It's now given to Rashford. Thought about the shot, does now. Maybe took one touch too many. Ayling blocks it. Just came in the middle there to charge down Rashford's shot, who, as we know, has scored goals from that sort of range before. Does like to do that, where he receives the ball quickly and then decides to shoot. He does do that fairly quickly, but he decided to just take a few extra touches there. Shaw with the throw into United. Down the line to Dan James. Llorente comes over to close him down. Dan James has just got away from Llorente as he fouls him. Free kick. The little Welsh winger there does well to win the free kick there. He just gets away from him there, and Llorente did try to win the ball, but caught Dan James there. So a free kick, which Luke Shaw is going to take. Fernandez well away from this. Gareth Southgate, the England manager, in attendance as he jots notes down. Of course, one of his players in his last squad, Luke Shaw, of course, is on this free kick. Of course, Rashford and Phillips are two players, and Maguire, that are also part of his plans for the Euros. Mason Greenwood, it might be just a little bit too much time ahead for. Shaw's free kick is away by Ayling. Leeds defend that well as they were positioned on the edge of the box. Well, they were positioned on the 6-yard box, I should say, as they successfully negotiate that free kick from Luke Shaw, who is now Wan-Bissaka. Almost, you can sense in the opening 25 minutes, both sides have altered their tactics, but that's lovely play between Fernandez and Wan-Bissaka as they do a little give and go there. Now it's Dan James who makes the run down the middle on that right-hand side. Wan-Bissaka gets it once more. Decides against crossing as he gives it to Fernandez. Now it's James. Fernandez gets it once more. In the Leeds box he goes. Cuts it back to Greenwood. He just couldn't get that touch right. It let him down. It was on his left foot, his favoured left foot as well. But it just went away from him and Leeds were able to clear him. But that was a lovely play between James and Fernandez. He gave it to Greenwood, who was so intent on just looking and thinking about where he was going to place it. He just almost just didn't turn his body into just getting that touch right. Here is Harry Maguire for United. The captain turns and then plays it with his right foot to Victor Lindelof. Greenwood. James out. Muscled there by Strauch, who knocks it forward to Tyler Roberts, and then Fred comes across to stop Dallas playing it forward, who's been very lively today, Fred. Certainly looks like he's had his Weetabix this morning, I think you could say. Really closing down Leeds quickly is Fred. Somebody who and him and McTominay have really struck up a partnership in that midfield, you could say, and has kept big money signing in Donny van der Beek at the team. Ball forward by Lindelof, looking for Rashford. Llorente comes across to clear away. Toward Harrison. Wan-Bissaka sliding in. It's a Leeds United throw. 26 minutes gone. Leeds 0. Manchester United 0 so far at Ellen Road. First meeting here in the league since October 2003. But it was Lindelof once more who tried that ball forward to Rashford, who tried to nip in behind Llorente, but Llorente sniffed out what Lindelof and Rashford were planning. Dealt with it well. Of course, you can follow us on our various social media platforms. Of course, we are on Twitter. You can follow us at Commentary Live 1, all one username and thing. And of course, capital C, capital L for that. Here is McTominay's. Ayling's clearance goes straight to the Scottish midfielder, who will be playing up against Calvin Phillips, potentially in the Euros this summer, I should say. Harrison jinks past Fred. Alioski isn't sure if he's offside. He is onside, or he thought he was. And now the flag is raised. And of course, one thing that was very striking on Monday when, of course, the Super League got announced around about this time on Sunday last week, in which, of course, Manchester United were one of the breakaway 6 clubs that signed up for the European Super League, which ultimately just around about sort of 72 hours later resulted in all the sides pulling out of it due to fan backlash, and rightly so. Leeds United certainly made their feelings known about Liverpool coming to town on Monday, and very much was saying that football's for the fans, and of course really made their feelings known to one of these sides who, of course, were going to join this proposed idea, which was condemned by many people. Lindelof gives it straight to Patrick Bamford. They're not really sure what the Swede was trying to do there. Dallas out to Harrison, who just can't quite get that under control as it just goes away from him. And Lindelof is escaped with one there as United get a throw in down their right-hand side, which Aaron Wan-Bissaka is going to go over to take. You could probably say to some degree that it might not have been a game that's lived up to the billing just yet. One thing that is clear is that both these sides have sort of altered their tactics. McTominay and Phillips had a bit of a altercation there, which saw McTominay just maybe put an arm in the face of Phillips. United were trying to break there with Greenwood, but Ayling comes in to win the challenge. Phillips to Tyler Roberts. He's almost playing as a central midfielder under Bielsa this game, and has done for the last few weeks. Here is now Llorente. Ayling. Straight to Luke Shaw as United have it back. Here's Fred. Could go on a run here. Plays it short to Greenwood, who comes centrally for it. Now he looks to find Fred again. Phillips cuts that out. Fernandes leaves it for Fred. Fernandes has it in the box. Who's on the edge of the box. He's fouled by Phillips. And Craig Pawson waited for the right time to intervene and blow his whistle and give a free kick to United, as he has done there. As Phillips goes into the back of Bruno Fernandes. United free kick in a very good position. It can work Ilham Meslier in the Leeds United goal. Just showing the McTominay and Phillips incident again. I'm pretty sure there was a lot in that there, as Phillips might have just been looking for that there. McTominay certainly didn't do a lot wrong. There's a free kick for United. Rashford and Fernandes are 2 players who have scored free kicks in the past. Fred is also in discussion with Fernandes and Rashford. There's 4 Leeds players in the wall: Bamford, Roberts, Strauch and Ayling. Maguire's also just tagging along to the wall. I think he might be used as a decoy here. Phillips is also behind Maguire as Craig Pawson blows his whistle. It'll be Fernandes who takes, but it's too high and over Illan Mellier's crossbar. He looks down to the floor there, Fernandes, because he knows that he probably should have done a little bit better there. Just goes for the height, doesn't he? And he just really doesn't trouble Mellier enough. In a good position like that, probably feel he should have done a little bit better. 31 minutes have flown by here at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0. Manchester United 0. Listen to this on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. Greenwood can't get away from Strauch. Alioski. Harrison to Alioski again, who clears it up the pitch. Dallas is chasing it, but Lindelof is able to head it out for a throw into Leeds United. Well, Marcelo Bielsa is a very well-known figure around football. When he arrived in England, not many people knew who he was. He has influenced some of the great coaches that we've seen in football, the likes of Simeone, Guardiola and Pochettino have all been disciples and learnt all about his management style and attributes to some degree. As Leeds come forward here with Costa. Advantage played by Craig Pawson. Now it's with Dallas, who's in the United box. Ayling is forward, who's onside. Drills it in low, and Fred sends that out for a corner. I don't think he wanted to put that there, I must admit. He just got his foot underneath it as it bounced off him. And Leeds have got a corner. It was a nice play there. Dallas to Ayling. No United player even saw Luke Ayling, just flashes it in. Looking for Bamford, who just made the run from the far post into the middle, but Fred was there to just knock it behind. Jack Harrison will take this corner for Leeds United. Delivered in, doesn't beat the first man. Fernandes clears that out for a throw-in. That was actually the first corner that any side has had in this game, inside 33 minutes. Ayling to take the throw-in. Now held Acosta. Ayling tries to get it back, just left it as he saw Luke Shaw coming toward him, and last touch has gone off a Leeds player. Ayling not sure about that. The Leeds skipper in the absence of Liam Cooper. It's a Man United throw-in, which Luke Shaw goes to take. We're just chatting about Marcelo Bielsa. There are a lot of players from his time that he actually inherited. He inherited the likes of Luke Ayling, Calvin Phillips, and another one here is Dallas, who strikes at goal. It's straight at Dean Henderson. And it's no trouble for the United keeper, but that is what Leeds are so good at doing, winning the ball in really high areas. Yeah, Fernandes just tries to clear it, and Phillips just steps in and just charges it down. He then just knocks it to Dallas. He's in a good position. Always in that sort of area. You've got to try your luck. But unfortunately for him, it was out, and it was a straightforward bit of goalkeeper for Dean Henderson. Lindelof to Fernandes. Tried to go for the back heel. Completely missed it as it's gone on through to Llorente's. Leeds have it here. He gets it back from Pascal Strauch. Mellier. Here is Llorente. Remember, Manchester United are preserving a 23-match unbeaten run in the Premier League and, of course, in English top division history. Arsenal got a better record, of course. They hold the record of being 27 matches unbeaten, which is, of course, more than United have. And, of course, that even stretches to their, during that period, reign of invincibility. And, of course, when they went that season unbeaten back in 2003, 2004, Strauch to Alioski. And, of course, incidentally, in that period where Arsenal went unbeaten, that was the last season prior to them coming back that Leeds entertained top-flight opposition at Ellen Road. Here is Llorente. Chips it through to Ayling. Looked like he might have just Played it to a United player there. Phillips tries to send it wide to Harrison. It's a square ball, which he had a lot of swerve on it, but Wan-Bissaka, as he's so good at, just defends that well and brings it out. Fred plays it and slips. Maguire to Lindelof. Phillips is chasing, not letting Lindelof play that forward, who does get it on through to James. Here's Greenwood. Having a couple of touches on his left foot. Craig Pawson doesn't give a free kick. Dallas putting Fred under pressure as he puts the squeeze on him. Here's Maguire, who's ventured into midfield. Now he sends it to Rashford. He's got a bit of work to do to get there, and Ayling completely clatters him. That's a free kick and a booking. Marcus Rashford, as we know, is so quick, so electrifying off his feet. Luke Ayling was coming in like a steam train there to stop Rashford in his tracks, and he's done exactly that and has conceded a free kick. Yeah, Rashford just gets his knee to it there. He knows if he gets there first with Ayling committing, Ayling's going to foul him. He just goes in there. Yeah, it's a foul, isn't it? Reckless challenge by Ayling. He isn't going to get away from not getting a yellow card there. It's a sixth booking of the season for the Leeds United captain, who has started the last 89 matches in a row for Leeds United. And of course, is one of the players, as I mentioned earlier, that has been inherited by Bielsa. One of a whole list of players. In fact, there's actually 8 players that he inherited. Tyler Roberts also in and amongst that 8. It's a free kick for United with Bruno Fernandes. It's a good position for him here. I think he might go for goal himself. He does. Whip that in, but Patrick Bamford was able to get at the near post and head it behind for a corner. It's always difficult that from a defensive point of view, those free kicks. The goalkeeper is almost expecting to do a bit of work to save it. But then obviously, with that really whipped in, you could almost just get a fellow attacking player just to knock it on. But obviously, there was no United player able to do that, and Bamford headed it away. Leeds from set pieces, defending them it's been a real problem for them this season. Let's hope it doesn't strike again as United look to go one up here. Corners in by Shaw from the right. Maguire was going to attack it. Bamford heads it away. Costa's underneath it at the edge of the box as Tyler Roberts comes away with it. He then manages to get it away from Fred and tries to knock it through to Harrison. It's a good sliding challenge. Now United have it with James, who plays it to Greenwood. Roberts slides in. Flag raised for a free kick by Ian Hussein, and that's going to be another yellow card as Tyler Roberts is going to get cautioned here for that foul. He was surprised the free kick was given while United did well to win it. It was a good challenge by Victor Lindelof to get it away, and then they scampered forward. And yeah, Roberts is challenged from behind there on Greenwood. When you do go to ground and you do it from behind, usually it is a pretty obvious booking to have. It is a United free kick on the right-hand side. It's going to be Luke Shaw who's going to take this. Him and Fernandes have shared those duties this afternoon. Shaw delivers it in. McTominay attacking it. And he didn't get anything on it at all. And he's gone all the way out of play. Well, he does graze off his head. He did knock it toward goal. It is a goal kick as Maguire was the one running at the back post, but he was unable to touch it. We're heading into the final 5.5 minutes here. Still goalless here as two sides, of course, who share a common hatred to one another. Have so far as of yet played a spectacle that not many thought would be the case. Henderson just lets that ball drop as he's have volleyed it forward toward Dan James's path. Alioski then knocks it to Strauch, who was not expecting to play it short, I must admit, but he was under no pressure at all. Meslier to Strauch. I didn't actually mention the Man United subs in it. It's David De Gea, Telles, Bailly, Tuanzebe, Mata, Matic, Pogba, Van der Beek and Edinson Cavani. So they have got options to choose from, as do Leeds. But of course, United's bench is much more stronger than their hosts. That's for sure. So United get a throw in here with Wan-Bissaka going to take it. Gap at the top is 11 points. With, of course, United equaling the same amount of games that Manchester City are playing. Free kick taken quickly by Maguire. Marcelo Bielsa trots up and down the touchline. He is a man who cannot stand or sit still, is he? He is always so active on the sideline. It almost feels like he demands perfection and demands so much out of his players. James to Greenwood, who's occupied a position down the middle most of the time, but he has spent a little bit of time inside his own half, it has to be said, as well as Mason Greenwood. Maguire, to Luke Shaw. Rashford. Plays it forward to Luke Shaw, who's kept that in, has he? No, he hasn't, and it has gone out of play for a throw-in, which Ayling takes quickly to Llorente. Alioski. Harrison to Struck. Alioski is challenged by Wan-Bissaka. Good challenge as well. And then Harrison kicks that out of play as Dan James, I think, takes one into the side. He'll run it off. He's okay. Maguire to Victor Lindelof. Greenwood. Dan James. Looking for Fernandez. Can't find him. Phillips gives it to Melia, who kicks it forward, McTominay gets away from Dallas. Can't get away from Phillips with a real good challenge to stop Scott McTominay there. Roberts to Harrison. It's an overhit ball by Roberts, and it's a throw-in to Manchester United. It hasn't quite been there at all today for Leeds so far. Their only real opportunity was that one at Dean Henderson's goal from Dallas from about 18 yards, which was straight at him. Of course, in the last few weeks, Leeds have shown better defensive resilience. And at home in this calendar year, they have actually been very, very good as well, as they haven't conceded a lot for that fact as well. Fernandez to James. United looking to try and turn the tide as they're about to go into the break as it stands 0-0. They've got a free kick as James is on the deck. It was a foul there by Strauch. As he just went into the shin and knee of Dan James. It was a shin then, of course, as James was getting away from Strauch, his knee just sort of clattered into his thigh. So it is a United free kick into the final minute of normal time in this first half. There won't be a lot of stoppage time neither. And it's Rashford who's putting the ball on the spot. We know what sort of technique he's going to go for. It's going to go for the up and the dip sort of technique rather than the Fernandez one, which is the technique of just going around the wall and then just sort of trying to keep it at that sort of height. And then maybe at times as well go a little bit hard as it gets closer. Might be Fernandez who's going to be on this. Again, Leeds have got a very tall wall in there. There is three in there. Maguire and McTominay in front of it. It's Rashford that takes, and that's a really good save by Melia. It was up. It swerved. Melia in the right position and is called into action to make a good save. Yeah, when it's in that position, it is Marcus Rashford territory, isn't it? He gets a hold of it really well. It's up, it dips, it changes direction. That's a really good save by Melia. He uses outstretched arm to push it away. 1 minute added time at the end of this first half. Luke Shaw to take this free kick for United. At this corner for United. Maguire heads it on. It was a free header for the United skipper, and he's tried to head it at Mellier's goal, but in the end he's got it all wrong and has headed that out of play for a goal kick. But he's got to do a lot better than Maguire. Yeah, Leeds have been a lot better from set pieces in recent weeks, and that was an instance where they were really poor from it. They've been well in this game, actually. Maguire was just free. He just tried to glance it forward, and he's headed that well over the crossbar. And yeah, we'll take this kick. McTominay slips and then knocks it forward, but that will be the end of that. 0-0 the scoreline at Ellen Road. Illan Meslier made a really good save to deny Marcus Rashford from around 20 yards out from his free kick that keeps it at 0-0 in a game where two sides who do like to attack have so far really not been able to show what they are made of. It is half-time. Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much there, Matt. So it's been a very cagey first half performance from both teams there. I've just seen quite a lot of angst on social media as well, particularly from Manchester United fans. There's a tweet here that I want to read as well. Can someone tell the Leeds players that the Man U players didn't want to take part in the Super League? It looks like the Leeds players want to kill them. I think they're referring to all of those tackles that have been put in there. And of course, there's been a couple of bookings. It was Calvin Phillips and who was the other one? I can't remember who the other one was, but there was a second booking as well. So this Sir Kipster United doesn't seem very happy with that one. And of course, it has been a very cagey game. And that's what Leeds are good at doing sometimes. Of course, it's different kettle of fish completely to the 6-2, where Manchester United were quite convincingly ahead at this stage beforehand in the previous fixture. Okay, and then Matt's just going to disappear just to go and get himself a drink and stuff, so that's fine. They're just saying in regards to Dan James as well, the Manchester United fans, they are loving the work rate of Dan James. They're saying that he's working his socks off, and people should be having a go at the likes of Rashford and Fred, who are not playing too well today, in these Toby Tyler 77's opinion. So, of course, Marcus Rashford did have that chance just at the end of the half there with a free kick, though, and that was a very good save from Illan Meslier, the Leeds goalkeeper. He done well to, get a strong hand on that and get it away from danger. As for Leeds United, their best chance, as Matt mentioned, was the one from Stuart Dallas, just on the edge of the box. It was tamely at Dean Henderson. And, of course, they possibly were saying they could have had a penalty as well for the handball by Luke Shaw. But, I'm with Matt on that. I think the referee's got that spot on. I don't think that's handball. And, of course, I did look at it with VAR and, decide that was the correct original call as well, and rightly so. As these Manchester United fans, Generic Devil, were saying as well, that the arm wasn't in an unnatural position. And I have to agree with that one. So that was just in regards to that there. And yeah, it's been, as I said, a very cagey first half. Not too many opportunities for either side. Leeds United having that one with Dallas, as I mentioned just a moment ago, and Manchester United having the one just towards the end of the half. But I think Manchester United have had 2 attempts on target and Leeds have had just one. So that kind of says everything about this half, and that the midfield battles are pretty evenly matched at the moment. No one's really coming out on top in midfield. And that kind of comes onto these next messages as well, in regards to Manchester United fans. A little bit unhappy that Donny van der Beek isn't being given an opportunity. And instead, they're still continuing to stick with McTominay and Fred. So I'm going to bring Matt back in as well for a minute. And yeah, what a cagey first half that has been. There hasn't been too many opportunities, as I just said there. Manchester United have had 2 on target, one being the free kick from Rashford. And the other, what was the other one? I'm trying to remember the other one now. And of course, Leeds' one was the Dallas attempt. And there hasn't been an awful lot going on in that first half. But as I just mentioned, when you were gone there, a lot of the Leeds fans seem to be, sorry, a lot of the Manchester United fans, I should say, seem to be unhappy with the Leeds players, and seem to be saying, well, the players don't want to be a part of the Super League. You don't have to try and kill them. So they're, the rivalry is still in full force.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Leeds United, the way they play under Bielsa, they hunt the opposition down, and obviously, they try and win the ball back as quickly as they can, so they can go on the break and obviously put the ball in the back of the net down the other end. They don't change their style for anybody. They're very aggressive in terms of how they press. I think there has been an element of respect there that you sort of do see with teams like that. Bielsa's a very humble, person, isn't he? And I think when they do play the big sides at home, Leeds United, they do alter their style. They're tactically very switched on. We know about Bielsa, how he's very much a man who's meticulous in his planning, but he's done his homework on United. And I think they've done a good job. They've limited them to an extent. I think Leeds probably have been a little bit poor in possession, but in terms of, shutting the door on a United side who, as we know, are 24 unbeaten away from home, they do deserve a little bit of credit for that, I think, Mike.
I'm just looking here now as well. The other one was the Rashford chance. This was another chance as well. This one wasn't on target. It was a good through ball by, it was like Harry Maguire, I believe, from defence.
It was Lindelof who played the ball.
Lindelof. And then Rashford gets in behind his man, and he just drags his shot wide. And, that was a good opportunity there. And then this one here, the Rashford free kick as well. That was a very good save from Melier in the Leeds goal. But other than that, there hasn't been an awful lot. Leeds, possibly saying they could have had a penalty, but I stand with you on that. I think the correct call was made. The arm was in a natural position and would have been very harsh and soft to give that one from, going against Luke Shaw, wasn't it? And just showing, this one from Dallas as well. This is Leeds' best chance, and it was straight down the nose, really, of Dean Henderson, who, had that covered really comfortably, and it was easy for him, Yeah,
I think that the observations I sort of had from the first half was Leeds were very on it in terms of pressing in and around their 18-yard defensive area. And that's obviously why United have not had many opportunities at goal. So, you could give them a big round of applause for that, because as we know, especially around the 18 yards, when you've got Greenwood, you've got Fernandes, you've got Rashford, who, as we know, do often like to shoot from that sort of range. They have defended that very, very well. But I think when United have had the ball at the back, I think that's been a little bit too comfortable. I love to see in that first half how many touches Dean Henderson had, how many touches Lindelof and Maguire had. And we've seen it on two occasions where, Lindelof has looked to pick Rashford out. And obviously, very early on, he did that, didn't he, with obviously Rashford failing to hit the target. But I think if that's one thing that you could change about Leeds, is maybe that they could just maybe go and do a little bit more pressing on the front foot.
Yeah, and of course, if you look at the bench for Manchester United as well, they do have a good strength in depth on the bench with the likes of Pogba, as you mentioned, Van der Beek as well, who a lot of fans would really like to see start from Manchester United's perspective over either a Fred or a McTominay. They kind of don't understand why he's not getting more game time. And of course, Edison Cavani is the man who they could bring on up front as well. So lots, of options there for Man United that can come on and win them this game.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, obviously, Marcus Rashford, as we know, was a doubt coming into this game. He certainly hasn't shown signs of flagging or looking like he's not up to scratch. I think he looks probably as fit as he has been. I think one thing you could say about Rashford is a player who's very, very fit, isn't he? You don't see him often, get injured. He went off injured, didn't he, in a clash last weekend? It was against Burnley, I think it was. And he just didn't really look right there. And but he's obviously trained very, very hard in the days leading up to the game. And obviously, Solskjaer really trusts him. He's a player who's become a real stalwart for his club and for his country. So you have to say that he hasn't shown signs of flagging. But I think, obviously, Solskjaer in his mind will know that this title race is probably out of reach for them. They've got to look at the Europa League semi-final on Thursday. And with Rashford probably being only 80% fit, I'd be very surprised if he does finish the game.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think they'll probably want to rest him and give him some, some time out of the side here as well, and probably get on Cavani, somebody like that. Just looking here on the Leeds Twitter, they've actually posted Diogo Llorente's stats as well. He's won 4 duels. His pass is 36 passes, won 2 tackles, 42 touches of the ball, and 5 long balls and 9 recoveries. So it's pretty, decent numbers from Llorente in the first half there for Leeds.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, he was somebody who struggled with an injury when he first arrived from Real Sociedad, and he took his time to play his first match for Leeds. But obviously, he got his first goal on Monday against Liverpool, and they're obviously with Liam Cooper suspended. You need somebody to come in and fill the void that's been left behind, because, as everybody knows, Cooper is somebody that is well revered and well liked by Bielsa, not just for his leadership skills, but in terms of how he is as a player. And I think he's done very, very well in that. Obviously, it's not been easy. It's been the majority of the time down that right-hand side, which obviously Ayling has been there as well. But he's just been a calm figure in there. Obviously, Dan James has been up against him a little bit. We've seen Rashford sort of play more in the middle than out in the wing. But when he's had to sort of step out and deal with the United attack, he's done it very, very well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Man United fans that are pleased with Dan James in that first half. They think he's been a very bright spark, and I have to agree. I think he's looked lively for United, and he's definitely wanted to make things happen. I'm just going to have a look at Leeds' options that they could bring on from the bench if they needed to as well. Of course, there's Hernandez, there's Poveda, Cleek as well, and of course Sam Greenwood, who come through the academy over at Arsenal. So be good to see Sam get some minutes, and be interesting to see whether Leeds really, if it stays 0-0, we'll chuck on that extra forward.
Yeah, I think that is one thing that is very interesting about Leeds. Obviously, I think it's pretty obvious that you're probably going to see Ian Poveda come on from the bench. He's somebody who's a regular player to come from that. Hernandez, I think you could possibly see coming on, but with Rafinha not being in the 20-man squad, it has kind of limited their options on the bench, because obviously you'd see him and Costa sort of swap over, wouldn't you? But it would be nice to see Sam Greenwood come on. Obviously with Bamford, the form he's been in this season, scoring 14 goals that he has in all competitions, it's very unlikely that you would see Greenwood be replace Bamford. But it would be quite interesting to see how he does it. But I think you could also maybe see Mateusz Cleek come on.
Yeah.
I think Roberts wouldn't usually last 90 minutes, and given he got booked for quite a cynical foul, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
There's a lot of United fans. I'm not too sure whether it was the Roberts one or the first one that was saying that it could have been a red. I think it was probably the Roberts one, but I think the yellow sufficed. And I was just looking here. Of course, Leeds are without Rodrigo as well, aren't they? So that's another name there. Of course, he's looked lively when he's played for them this season. And it'd be interesting to see whether Sam Greenwood does come on and the impact he can have, as it looks like I think the second half's going to be getting underway any moment now, just in a minute. And of course, we've got the second game coming up on the channel as well, with the Carling Cup final, or the Carabao Cup final, I should say, between Tottenham and Manchester City just after this one. So that's going to be an interesting game. See who lifts the trophy. I know who I want to win it, and I'm pretty sure you know who I want to win it as well.
I'm not too sure, Mike. Let the viewers know about that
one. Of course, being an Arsenal fan, I would love it if it was Manchester City. I don't want to see Tottenham winning trophies. That's my bias out of it, though. And of course, they're just showing us some big boxing next week as well for anyone that's into that, with Chisora and Parker, which will be a good fight. But we're going to bring you back to the moment in a second, because I know the second half is just about to come underway, and it looks like the players will probably be coming out in a minute. Just going to have a look at the league table. I think the Leeds, are they currently above Arsenal? Would a point be enough for them? Let's have a look.
Well, goal difference certainly would play a part with Arsenal being ahead of them. But
Leeds would move up to ninth, even as things stand. and they would be, what is it, 5 points behind Everton, who would have played a game less. And it looks like Man U are going to make a sub as well. It looks like they've gone and they're going to bring on a substitution there in midfield. It looks like, was it Paul Pogba coming on? I'm not too sure who was coming off though.
We'll have to wait and see, but it will be interesting to see Paul Pogba come on, obviously. This game, very much familiar to the game that I covered on Football Commentary Live a few weeks ago when they played AC Milan. And obviously Pogba came on and he made a big difference. He came onto the field of play and he sort of went out wide and he just gave United a bit of a different outlook. So I think him coming on could be a bit of a lift for the visitors.
So we'll wait and see.
Should that be the case, of course?
Yeah, I think I just saw him there in regards to getting himself ready. So I don't know whether that was going to be an imminent thing or not. And I know their two sides are back out now in regards to getting themselves ready for the second half. So I will hand back over to you, and you'll be able to run us through if Paul Pogba does come on, and then let us know what else goes on just at half time there, and then bring us the second half coverage as well.
Thank you very much, Mike. Well, it's very interesting to see if there has been a change in the offing. Leeds already improving from their last display against Manchester United. They were 4-1 down in the fixture at halftime in December. It does look like there is no changes that have actually been made. So Paul Pogba's arrival into this game will have to wait. It is Leeds that get us underway, or there might have to be a restart here. Something has happened with the ball, I believe. I'm not really too sure what happened there with Craig Pawson. So play resumes with the score at 0-0. Here is now Aaron Wan-Bissaka. We'll just go through both sides' lineups very, very quickly and accordingly. Here is Costa. Strout with the ball forward. McTominay heads it. Alioski leads. Just go through Leeds quickly. Meslier in goal. Ayling, Strout, Llorente, Alioski the back four. Phillips in Dallas and Roberts in midfield. Harrison, Costa are the wingers with Bamford leading the line on his own. Man United, Henderson in goal. Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw the defence. Fred, McTominay, Dan James, Fernandes, Greenwood, Marcus Rashford leading the line as well. The subs, Casilla, Koch, Berardi, Shackleton, Cleek, Somerville, Hernandez, Poveda, and Sam Greenwood. And United subs, De Gea, Telles, Bailly, Twanzebe, Mata, Matic, Pogba, Van de Beek, Cavani. Here is Fred. We are 60 seconds into the second half at Old Trafford, at Allen Road. It is Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0. Of course, there were plenty of things you could have said that both sides could have improved upon. Let's see if the improvements that me and Mike were noting at halftime, or things that we noticed in that first half, have sort of been just ironed out. Remember, a lot of players have crossed the divide and played for both, of course. Eric Cantona, Rio Ferdinand and Alan Smith are three that are standouts of the Premier League era. Eric Cantona, Ferdinand, Smith, of course, left Leeds to go to Manchester United. Gordon McQueen, Gordon Strachan, of course, played for both. Joe Jordan, Johnny Giles. Lee Sharp is another one as well. That, of course, has played for both. Of course, there was a lot of animosity when Rio Ferdinand left to go to Manchester United. He was adored by the Ellen Road faithful and then left, of course, to have 12 years at Man United where he pretty much won the lot. Here is Wan-Bissaka just sliding in to play it to Fred. Here's Fernandes. Lets it run on through to Rashford. Tries to play it to Greenwood. Alioski cuts it out. Dan James was there, but Alioski gets a foot to it. Down the line toward Elder Costa, who's not really got involved in the game as much as he would have liked, but Lindelof is there to deal with it and heading out for a throw-in. And one thing that is very immediate to see is that Elder Costa and Jack Harrison have swapped flanks. So Harrison's going out to play it onto the right-hand side, down Luke Shaw's side, and we are seeing Helder Costa go down, playing Wan-Bissaka's side. It's Stuart Dallas. Through the legs of Wan-Bissaka, looking to find Alioski. McTominay barges in there. They wanted a free kick, Leeds United. Craig Pawson says no. Wan-Bissaka bringing that away from the United danger zone. Luke Shaw. Here is Mason Greenwood. Now to Scott McTominay. Marcus Rashford. Greenwood. Good turn away from Stroud. Here's now Dan James. He let it run for Fernandez. Ayling gets across to get a foot away, and then Fernandez lets it run. Not really sure what Dan James was trying to do there. It was brilliant by Greenwood to spin away from Stroud. Dan James just got to go on his own. Him and Fernandez just got their wires crossed there. He should have just carried on his own, and both just sort of got in the way of each other as much as anything else. And Ayling cleared that away, and Fernandez just let that go out of play for a corner. Fernandez just talking through to Dan James about that. He's almost saying, I didn't really want it, and I think you could almost sense that he didn't. First corner of the second half goes United's way. Luke Shaw will take in with that left foot of his. Away by Phillips. Fernandez goes down. He is someone who was always very vocal towards referees, Bruno Fernandes. Rashford can't get away from Phillips, his teammate in England. And then Fred plays it to Wan-Bissaka, who then gives it to Dean Henderson. 4.5 minutes played. Leeds 0, Manchester United 0. Long punt forward by Henderson. And Ayling will just see that out for a throw-in. Well, it was Alioski and Fernandez involved. Alioski does have his arms on Bruno Fernandes. Certainly does have them around his body to an extent, but I don't know if that's enough to say that Fernandez has been fouled, which Craig Pawson didn't think was a foul neither. Ayling to take the throw. Bamford is target. Maguire heads it off Jack Harrison out for a throw-in. Well, Leeds against the fellow sides who tried to break away into the European Super League, if you like. They've drawn at home with Arsenal, drew with Chelsea, they drew with Manchester City, and they've also beaten Liverpool. They're drawing here, and they've got Tottenham still to play. As Fernandes gets the shot away, he delayed it, and then took aim, but it's well blocked by a Leeds player. I think it was Calvin Phillips that slid in there as the shot bounced off Phillips and into the path of Illan Meslier. It was taken quickly. Fernandes just gets away from Phillips. He just gets in that position. He's got to shoot there. And then he just delayed it, didn't he? And just took more seconds off it. And then as he decided to finally try and strike it, it was well blocked there by Phillips. And then it just sort of bounced off the foot of Ayling into Mellier's path. And James fouled in his own half. Free kick to Manchester United. Well, he is a player they just so heavily rely upon, isn't he, Bruno Fernandes? A man who, as we know, has the ability to change the game at any given moment for United. Such a key player for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side. Rashford will chase. Mellier's come out a long way. Just gently plays it to Strauch, who then clears it, but is sliced it out for a throw. Always got a grumpy figure as Marcelo Bielsa when he goes into the position of squatting in and watching the game from his knees rather than standing up. I hate to think what his knees are like once he gets back up into a standing position. And of course, he does often sometimes even sit on a bucket as well, which is something that has made him such a cult figure, not just with Leeds supporters, but has made him come into the minds of many pundits and fans all across the board in England. Harrison cuts that out well. He then gives it to Meslier. Llorente. Here's Harrison. Almost playing as a right back at the moment. Phillips keeps the ball close to his feet. Llorente to Meslier. Looks to find Elder Costa. Can't find him. Wan-Bissaka there to play it through to Fernandes. Good interception by Strauch. McTominay and Phillips were competing there. United have it with Greenwood. Tries to get away from Phillips. But Phillips, with such tenacity, does well to win it back. He's had a good game in the heart of the midfield. And you can actually see why Gareth Southgate really does favour Calvin Phillips and why he has been such a big part of his plans in the squad over the last few years. Last year or so. Strauch. Nice ball through to Roberts. Dallas. Llorente. On the floor it goes to Roberts. Bamford. First real time we've seen Leeds really get in United's final sort of 20 yards in this second half. Is Alioski. Look to try and put the cross in. Dan James just got in front of it and stopped that from happening. Lovely chip ball from Dallas into Costa, who's in the box, drills it across. Bamford went for it, missed it, but there was no one at the back post arriving, and Costa's crosses ended up going out of play for a goal kick. Yeah, Dallas just did really well to think on his feet, clip it through to Elder Costa. He does everything right. It's the right ball to play, drilling it along the floor. Then, of course, there was nobody in white able to get it toward Henderson's goal. It was barely anything to do, actually, as Dean Henderson, I might add. McTominay clipped by Bamford, who I think is going to go into the book for that. Craig Pawson. Doesn't want a word with Bamford there. And the free kick will be taken by the Brazilian Fred, who looks to find Dan James out there, but it's cut out by Alioski. Lindelof to Fred. Now Fernandes has to go back a little bit away from the Leeds attacking area to get the ball. Gets it back from Maguire. Here's Lindelof. Here is now Greenwood. Lindelof has it once more. Lovely ball looking for Luke Shaw. But unfortunately, it goes out of play for a goal kick. 10.5 minutes played of this second half. It's Leeds United 0. Manchester United 0 on a game you're listening to on Football Commentary Live. Name of alternative commentary. Remember, we will be bringing you the Carabao Cup final as Tottenham entertain Manchester City at Wembley in a game that, of course, 8,000 spectators will be in attendance at the National Stadium. Maguire does really well to find Dan James. Alioski went in with a sliding challenge, but James evades the challenge. Now Greenwood, who hasn't really been involved for United in this game so far. Here's Rashford, looks to try and go for goal while blocked by Ayling. Fred to Alioski, and Harrison just stepped out, and that allowed the gap to be created for Fred to find Fernandes. Luke Shaw, Fred, Greenwood, tight angle. United just can't seem to wriggle away from it. Fernandes gets the cross in. Strauch heads it away. And now to the right-hand side with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He gets away from Elder Costa. Does really well as well. Now plays it to Dan James. He lets it run for Fernandes, who drags it wide. Good play that by Manchester United. Set up by Wan-Bissaka into Bruno Fernandes' path, who just could not get that on target. And has in the end put it wide of Illan Mellier's goal. Well left by Dan James, and it comes to Fernandes. He goes for the corner. He's put it in the right position, to be fair, but he just can't get it on target and get it goalwards. Well, that's the first sighting that he's actually had, barring that free kick he had in the first half. It's taken quickly, so he looks to try and get Elder Costa in behind. It rolls on through to Henderson as Wan-Bissaka goes down. Here's Harry Maguire on the ball for United as they don't dwell on keeping the ball in Henderson's hands. They just want to play it out as quickly as they can and get the game going as much as they can. Here is Maguire. Picks out Rashford. First touch lets him down. It was a heavy one. Here is Harrison. Gets it back from Ayling. Now Ayling has it again. Maguire just lunges in to stop the pass going through to another Leeds player. And it's a Leeds throw. Well, one thing you could say about Leeds United with Marcelo Bielsa, since he came in as Leeds boss, he has completely transformed the careers of some of these players. As I said, he has inherited 8 players from previous managers. And of course, some of the players he's brought in, they've just gone leaps and leaps and leaps, haven't they? And have developed into real talented players. As McTominay's down on the floor, as he was fouled in the middle of the park by a Leeds player, as they're so tenacious and they're just winning at every possible opportunity to win the ball. It was Phillips that fouled him. But he's okay to continue. Taken short. Here's Rashford. Throwing United as Ayling gets the touch off him, who's having to deal with Rashford a little bit more down that side. Rashford, of course, knows what a Luke Ayling challenge feels like after he, of course, got clattered by him in the first half. Dan James. Now it's with Maguire. Greenwood, good play to get away from Llorente, but he can't get away from Ayling. Harrison. Llorente. Harrison has it once more. First quarter of this second half gone. It is still goalless between Leeds and Manchester United. McTominay to Rashford. Here's Dan James. Now Rashford gets it back from James, who was fouled, was he? Craig Pawson says no. Phillips tried to come away from McTominay and has won a free kick, and then McTominay just blasts the ball away. That might have just been out of pure frustration, or he might have just potentially not heard the whistle from the referee. But it is a Leeds free kick nonetheless. When will we see Paul Pogba or Edison Cavani introduced? Cavani, of course, has scored in his last 2 Premier League games. And of course, if you're in between that, where, of course, they played Granada in the second leg of that Europa League quarter-final, he scored in that 2-0 win at Old Trafford. Meslier to Llorente. Meslier once more. So they're almost matching each other stride for stride, aren't they, in terms of going after the ball and letting them bring it out. Fred. Slides it through to Greenwood. Flag stays down. Mason Greenwood shoots. Meslier saves. That's a lovely ball by Fred. Just gets that little bit of space. Looks up. Tries to get Greenwood on the go. I think his hand might have been offside. Of course, had that gone in, it would have gone to VAR. No doubt about it. He took it and got it away on his left foot. Tried to catch Meslier out, but he was well placed to make the save. Here's Fred. Now Fernandes to Wan-Bissaka. Can't play it to a fellow player in red. Now Leeds come forward with Elder Costa. Away by Lindelof. Not the best of headers, but McTominay has to get up above Elder Costa, and danger is averted for Manchester United. That's a lovely ball by Fernandes. Rashford gets the burners on. Now to Dan James. First touch lets him down. Alioski there to stop him. And that's a vital challenge as well by the North Macedonian, of course, in the box. It's always dangerous when you make a standing challenge or a sliding challenge for that fact. But he got that right and won the ball cleanly. Phillips now plays it out to Elder Costa. What a chance this is potentially for Leeds. It is Elder Costa who shoots. It's deflected off Wan-Bissaka. Henderson was a spectator and was statuesque as he just let that go over his head. But that is the first sign of life of Leeds on the counter-attack in this game. Elder Costa does really well. You know exactly if he can just get that first touch right, he's going to go for goal. It goes off Wan-Bissaka. That can go absolutely anywhere. And it just goes onto the top of the roofing and the net. But that was very unlucky from Elder Costa, and vital block by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Harrison will take this corner for Leeds. Their first one of this second half. 17 and a half minutes in. Flicked on by Ayling. Shaw just about away, still in the United box. Costa tried to lay that off, I think, to Llorente. But it was just too short. And there's another booking shown by Craig Pawson as Rashford was fouled. by, I believe it was Gianni Alioski. Yes, it was Gianni Alioski. I was right. You just body checked him, and you can have no complaints with that. The man adoring a sort of a greyish type haircut. Certainly isn't natural sort of grey. Very light grey, I must add, as well. Here's Maguire as he's bearing down toward Leeds' goal. Through to Shaw. Ayling dives in. Went to ground. Really good vital challenge as well by the Leeds captain. Remember, on a card. Here's the Leeds number 2. Clips it in the middle to Dallas. He heads it on to Bamford as it just goes away from him. Not been his afternoon so far, Patrick Bamford. 14 goals for him in the Premier League this season. Hasn't really had a chance to add to it today. Here is Lindelof. 19 minutes of the second half gone. Still Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0 at Ellen Road. Of course, the first meeting back in 1923 in the old Division 2 was actually a 0-0 at Ellen Road. So 98 years later, it looks like we're getting the exact same scoreline. Fred, Rashford, nice little ball into Fernandes. Shaw, Fernandes once more. Gets a yard to cross it in, away by Tyler Roberts, who's in the right place to defend that. Greenwood to Lindelof. Leeds at the moment just maintaining shape, staying in position. Just waiting for United to go to them. Rashford holds off Ayling and then gets fouled. Remember, Ayling is walking a tightrope as it is because of that booking he received on Marcus Rashford in the first half. And United got a free kick here. Alioski and Greenwood having a bit of a set to with each other. Little words as the ball went away there. Alioski was just holding on to Greenwood, and then Greenwood didn't like what he was trying to do there. But it's going to be Bruno Fernandes who's going to take this free kick. 24 goals for him this season for Manchester United, and in his 15 months he has been at Old Trafford, he has been a revelation, I think everybody can say. And if this does go in, and if he does pull this off, we are talking about one of the free kicks of the season. He decides to clip it to Rashford. It nearly went on through to Rashford, but Calvin Phillips just about got there. He completely fooled everyone, including me. Leeds get it away, but it is a United throw with Luke Shaw going to take. Still no sign of any change or movement from the bench. And as I say that, it looks like Ian Pavade is going to be introduced once the ball next goes out of play. Out to Dan James. Taking on Alioski. Decides to come back to give it to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Greenwood. Just can't get that under control and goes down. Craig Pawson not interested. He has done well to let instances just go on. He might have to stop the game here as Tyler Roberts is fouled by Maguire, who goes into the book and becomes the first United player in this game to be cautioned by Craig Pawson. Yeah, he goes for the 50-50. A little bit late. Yeah, easy booking for Craig Pawson. Right underneath his nose, wasn't it? Ball had gone when Maguire came in from his Roberts' side. Right-hand side for that fact. And that's the magic 10 for Harry Maguire in terms of bookings now. And Ian Pavade will come on as Jack Harrison is replaced. Here's a player who's used to coming on from the subs bench is Ian Pavade. Alioski with the ball forward. Costa tries to get under control. Just didn't get enough of that touch underneath him, did he, as Lindelof clears. Well, there is an interesting stat about Ian Pavade. As I will read that out in just a second, but of course, Alioski wins it off. Dan James. Here is Alioski once more, who comes forward for Leeds United. Tried to play it to Roberts, but it's gone off Fred, who read exactly where Alioski was trying to put that ball. James can't get it under control. And the last touch has gone off him from Strauch. And it's actually Leeds United throw-in. Well, yes, with Ian Poveda, he's made 17 appearances in total prior to today's game. 14 of them have been as a sub. So he is somebody who's very much used to being on from the bench. He did play the last few games of their championship run-in. And, of course, did help them to promotion. Of course, a small contribution, it has to be said. And has had minutes in the Premier League. Here is Harry Maguire for Manchester United. Luke Shaw. Now, Maguire has it back with the ball. Here is now Victor Lindelof. We are heading into the final 20 minutes here at Ellen Road. Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0. The game you're listening to on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. You can follow us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1. Here is Dan James. Tries to get the cross in. Well defended by Alioski. He's had a really good second half as the North Macedonian. And of course, he has been carded as well. Bamford, I think, is going to have his name taken for petulantly kicking the ball away. I don't think you can have any complaints at that. He said he didn't do anything wrong, but I think he's clutching at straws. That Elder Costa is on the side as Leeds are temporarily down to 10 men. Wan-Bissaka, and then we're just having a tussle there. I think that might have been Helder Costa's back. Sort of just clattered against Wan-Bissaka's side. And of course, they've got to wait till play stops before he can come back on. Rashford. Fred. Now with Victor Lindelof. Greenwood. Dances away from Bamford. And then he tried to get away from Phillips, but couldn't. Advantage played as Craig Pawson thinks they won the ball cleanly. I do share that same opinion. And then Dallas, who was forced to go into a corner, sent that forward, but it's gone straight to Dean Henderson. He's now adoring a cap, actually, as the sun has come out at Ellen Road. And Craig Pawson will stop play with Elder Costa down and being allowed to receive treatment. And there's also going to be more movement from the bench as Mateusz Klich, the Polish midfielder, will now be coming on for the final 19 minutes of this second half. Player who was one of the 8 inherited by Marcelo Bielsa. And Helder Costa is going to come off. So it will force a reshuffle of some sort. And on comes Mateusz Klich. The Polish midfielder who was signed from Dutch side Pek Zwolle. And of course, in his first 6 months, actually shipped out on loan back to Holland with Utrecht. But under Bielsa, he found a home for him in the heart of the midfield. As that box-to-box midfield, a bit of a missed kick by Melier. That just hung in the air, but Aylin was able to scramble back and knock it forward. Llorente plays it forward. Did miss kick it. Dallas with the little flick forward. Poveda trying to get in there. Clattering challenge by Wan-Bissaka. Fred goes in on Alioski. Advantage played by Craig Pawson. He might go back and actually book Fred potentially. Here is Ian Poveda. Good challenge by Greenwood on Dallas, but he's given us a free kick. Well, don't forget, it is the League Cup final in an hour's time with myself at that one. Well, bringing you that one, I should say. As Manchester City go for a 4th straight Carabao Cup triumph. As Victor Lindelof is fouled. Here is Luke Shaw with play resuming. Lindelof to Maguire. Lindelof has it once more. Now it's Maguire. Shaw. Fred. Fernandes. Will we get any goal in this game, in which it has been a very even contest? Here's Bamford. Cleek is onside here. This could be an opportunity. Mateusz Klich goes inside, goes for the curler, but it's straight at Henderson. That was a real opening for Leeds. United's defence just stopped. Mateusz Klich couldn't believe he was onside. He then went all the way into the United box, came inside himself, but then he just put that straight at Dean Henderson. Here is Cleek. Ayling strikes from range, but it's on target and straight at Henderson. Well, it's, of course, the League Cup final, as I mentioned. I will go through the teams now. Manchester City line up like this. Stefan in goal. Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, Fernandinho, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Foden, and Sterling for the Premier League leaders. For Tottenham Hotspur, the big news for them is that Harry Kane is back and in the lineup. Here's Luke Shaw, though. Now it's Fernandes. Got the shot away, but it's going to go out for a goal kick, even though it did actually hit a Leeds player. It was off the field of play as that came back into play. It was a lovely ball by Rashford. He went down that Leeds left, found Luke Shaw, played it to Fernandes. He got the shot away, but there was a player already down on the floor for Leeds off the pitch. Paul Pogba is now going to come on for United for the final 15 minutes of this game, which remains goalless, and Dan James will be the man to be replaced. So I will now read out the Tottenham Hotspur lineup for the League Cup final. Remember, it's Ryan Mason's second game in charge, isn't it? So they line up like this. They go with Hugo Lloris in goal. They then have a back four of Serge Aurier, Toby Alderweireld, Eric Dyer, and Sergio Reguilon. Højbjerg and Winks are the two holding midfielders. Lo Celso, Lucas, Son, and Kane are in attack. And there's also been another change as Tyler Roberts has been replaced for Leeds. And Robin Koch has been introduced. The German defender. And with that change, it has seen Pascal Struijk shift into midfield. Koch, of course, signed in the summer from Freiburg. And United come forward with Lindelof. His Paul Pogba playing in his 200th match for Manchester United. Luke Shaw. Greenwood. Slips as he's still in the box. He was thinking about playing that pass, wasn't he? But the slip did let him down. Struijk can't get it away. United have had a man come back from an offside position. And Leeds have got a free kick. Well, we know what ability Struijk can have playing the ball. Of course, he will now just play in that midfield alongside Phillips. United have spent a lot of the time in the middle of the Leeds midfield in this 77.5 minutes. And, of course, as well, they have had little joy in the Leeds box. It's just shown that Leeds have done their homework and have done a good job in shutting United out. Here is Alioski. The ball rolls all the way through to Henderson. He just kicks that back into his box for himself to pick up. Here is Lindelof for Manchester United. 12 minutes to go. Leeds 0, Manchester United 0. It would close the gap at the top to just 10 points. So they would close the gap to some degree, but not to how much they would like. As, of course, they are just trying to keep their ever-fading title hopes well and truly alive. Here is Maguire. Knocks the ball to the left and finds Greenwood, who gets that under control beautifully from the sky. But it's well done. Luke Ayling, who just knocks it out for a throw-in. Here is Paul Pogba. Closing him down there was Llorente, was right alongside him there. Lindelof being allowed to travel from centre-back into the midfield. Wan-Bissaka, Rashford. Holds off Poveda, nutmegs Alioski. Strauch's able to just fill that position vacated by Alioski there. And then knock it back to Meslier. Phillips goes in on Fred. Called him just a little bit late there. Craig Pawson decides not to give a booking to Phillips, who's not been afraid to be stuck in this game. Fernandez has been fouled by Strauch. And within just a few seconds of United going short on the free kick, they've got another one. Pogba, Fernandez. Pogba has it back. Now to Luke Shaw on the left-hand side. Clips it to the back post, looking for Rashford. Alioski away. Still in the box with Poveda, who does well to come back and knock it out for a throw-in. We have got more coverage tomorrow on Football Commentary Live. Remember, Leicester against Crystal Palace. We brought you on this channel, the home of alternative commentary. Remember, Mike, Arneman and Russ are your two commentators for that at 8 p.m. And of course, PSG versus Manchester City will be covered on Wednesday in the Champions League. And I'll be bringing you the one on Tuesday with Real Madrid taking on Chelsea. Here's Pogba, holds off Robin Koch, tries to play it through. Cleek volleys it clear. Bamford now gets that under control as Leeds try and get out and get men forward, but United defend it well. Then Cleek out-muscles Fred to win it back. He then just sort of turns away from Pogba, who then wins it off Cleek. Now is Greenwood. Is he going to get some magic of his own? Gets away from the Polish midfielder Cleek. And then he's won a corner as it's got off Robin Koch. And United have a chance to send Maguire and Lindelof forward for this as we enter the final 9 minutes with the scores still at 0-0. Of course, just before I did talk about Greenwood and him winning a corner, that is what is coming up on Football Commentary Live within the next few days. As, of course, of all the competitions, we don't stop our coverage. Shaw will take this corner from the left. In swinging delivery. Looks for McTominay over his head. Ayling leaves it. Rolls on through to Llorente. Now it's with Calvin Phillips, who just had the ball trapped behind him there. Rashford goes in. Craig Pawson says carry on. Llorente. He's had a good game in the Leeds United defence. He's almost just found himself in the midfield now. Here is Ian Poveda. He looks to the left. He'll find Alioski making the run, and here's exactly who he's just found. Here is the North Macedonian. Goes into the box. Wan-Bissaka with a foot to it. Alioski still plays it to Phillips. Robin Koch. Here is Dallas. Ayling. Can he swing it in? Goes on the inside of Shaw. Then on the outside. Crosses in. Wan-Bissaka away. It's come to Phillips. You're thinking maybe Phillips was going to line up a shot there, but he decided against it. And Fernandez gets away from Robin Koch now as he's gone forward for United. Not got many bodies to choose from. Pogba is the man who he finds, who's gone out to the left to receive the pass. Now he goes out to the right. Greenwood takes on his left foot, goes for goal, but it drags along the floor, and Meslier just gets his body underneath it and saves it. And now United are going to be introducing Edison Cavani very, very shortly. Of course, with the European action, we will be bringing you both semi-finals of the UEFA Europa League. Join me as I'll be covering United against Roma. And then, of course, Arsenal will entertain Villarreal, of course, managed by Unai Emery. And that, of course, is the first leg of that one, live on Thursday, both of them on Football Commentary Live. Bamford and Maguire, Bamford, and Lindelof going and competing there. Craig Pawson gives a free kick in United's favour, which is taken quickly. Maguire bringing it out. And they've been allowed to do that very often in this game. Shaw with the ball forward. Pogba gets under control, but then Pascal Struijk just underneath it. Pogba knows that he had a sniff of goal. And to be fair to him, he just did not see in his eye line that Struijk was coming across and dealing with it. Heading with the ball forward. Now it's Stuart Dallas. Through to Mateusz Klich, who will provide energy through the middle. Gets the cross in. Not the best delivery. Wan-Bissaka's not with the best of clearances, I must admit. Fred lets it bounce, then gets up above Klich to head it to Luke Shaw, who finds himself in a tight situation, but gets himself out of it quite comfortably. Pogba loses out to Robin Koch. Here's Luke Ayling in the box. Tries to play it to Alioski, but McTominay with the foot in there to stop it going on through to Alioski, who looked like it was going to roll on through to him on the edge of the box. Leeds have it now at the back with Calvin Phillips. Pascal Struijk. Alioski. Rashford with the challenge on that left-hand side. Final 5 minutes, still 0-0. And now Edison Cavani will come on. Rashford off. I did say at halftime in the discussion with Mike Arneman that he would not be completing a full 90 minutes. And it is a surprise to actually see him complete 85 minutes, let alone 90 minutes, to be fair, given that he was a real doubt for this game. Here is Luke Ayling. Nice ball to Robin Koch. Couldn't pick out Klich as Maguire intercepts. There's been a lot of good defensive performances from both these sides today. It is quite hard to pick out an individual. Leeds have it, though, with Koch. Dallas. Fernandes wins it back, and he gets it back from Paul Pogba, taking it in his stride. Cavani can't get away from Pascal Struijk. Here's Phillips. He gives it to Llorente, knocks it back to Meslier, who will clear that away. And it's now in United's half as Lindelof heads it to McTominay. Now Shaw picks it up. Good run this by Shaw. Tries to do the give and go with Cavani. Cut out well by Struijk. Cavani gets it from McTominay. Turns. Greenwood's going to go on his left foot. Shaw to McTominay. Clips it out to the left with Bruno Fernandes. Tries to go on the outside of his foot and wins the corner as it goes off Dallas. They are probing here, United. And of course, where that corner is going to be taken by Luke Shaw, there are, of course, a lot of those Leeds United fans right in that corner. Of course, the South Stand so famous for bringing a lot of the noise at Ellen Road. It will be Luke Shaw to take. In it goes. Cavani does get his head to it, but can only flick it behind him. Lindelof to Fernandes. He clips it in. It's an easy one for Meslier to take. And he's going to roll it out quickly. Here's Mateusz Klich. Paveda's up, giving him support. He then finds it through to Bamford. It goes to Paveda, who is onside. He has just got drifted out to the right. Here's Dallas. He'll get that in. Stands the cross up, but then Henderson just waits for the right time to just take that into his gloves. Greenwood to McTominay. That's a lovely ball through to Fernandes. Can't get around Struijk, who's had a brilliant game as the Dutchman. Really impressed. And Bamford is fouled as Lindelof goes into the back of him. And that, we'll see Leeds have a free kick just inside their own half. So, United's final change, Man United that is, we'll see Donny van de Beek come on. A man who impressed at Ajax, of course, on their way to the Champions League semi-finals. Then Fred comes off. That's the man who was United's high-profile acquisition in the summer. In terms of the money they spent, comes on for 2+ minutes. Here's Ayling. Got that one completely wrong. He gives it straight to Fernandes. Here's Greenwood. Now here's Van der Beek. Touches it to Cavani. Slows it down, doesn't he, as he waits for the players to come up and get around him. Here's Paul Pogba. United, though, in the last minute have scored 8 goals in that time. It's gone to Cavani in the box. Here's Greenwood. Blocked by Llorente. Good block as well. Here's Wan-Bissaka. He slips. Not the first time that we've seen any player slip. Gets away from Ian Poveda. Maguire. Pogba. Time in the middle to look up and pick out a pass. Cavani. Leeds standing firm. Here is Pogba once more. Away from Robin Koch, who's fouled him in the back. Free kick. Well, it's about time, just before this free kick's going to get taken, that I introduce the man of the match. And I will elaborate later on and at full time in the discussion with Mike, but I think my man of the match does have to go to Pascal Struijk. He has had a very good performance at the back. And as I said earlier on, there has been a whole host of people that could be man of the match for both United and Leeds. 4 minutes added on. United have a free kick. 2 in the Leeds United wall. It's around about 25 yards out. Shaw's going to clip this in, I think, which he's done exactly that. Llorente heads it away as Leeds United deal with it well. Van der Beek gives it to Shaw. Here's Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Greenwood with the low drive in there. Struijk out to clear it out for a corner. And of course, the man of the match is now just being put on your screen if you are watching our stream on Football Commentary Live, there with alternative commentary. We're 1 minute into 4 minutes added on. Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0. Luke Shaw will take the corner. Delivers it in, and Melier takes. He'll be open that if they do get any more corners in this game from now to the end, they're like that. Pretty easy for him to deal with and have no player in front of him and have a clear sight to catch it. As the sun is beating down on Ellen Road. And the sun, you'd feel like, has been shining all season, given the fact that Leeds United have had a really good first campaign back in the Premier League. And, of course, everybody welcomed them back with open arms. Some Man United fans probably didn't, and some Chelsea fans probably didn't, I'll admit that. But, of course, they have been a real good addition to the Premier League and have not punched above their weight to any degree. I think they are where a lot of people expected them to be. Dallas, Cleek. Dallas gets it back once more. Alioski can't get it under control from Dallas. Van der Beek wins it. Greenwood will try and get it back from Van der Beek. Solskjaer wants a free kick. He thought he was fouled. I think he might have actually just pulled a foul back there. Well, Leeds are going to preserve their record against the so-called Big Six as it stands. It'll be their third nil against sides involved in that. Arsenal and Chelsea came away from here with 0-0s. Manchester City drew here. Liverpool drew here. The only side they've got left to play is Tottenham on the 8th of May. But it could be a United win yet as they come forward. Greenwood on his left foot crosses in. It's cannoned off Alioski's boot. Goes now to Wan-Bissaka. Fernandes. United are just being a little bit too passive, a little bit too slow here. Wan-Bissaka clips it in. It's bounced off Cavani's chest. Alioski can't clear it away. Strout can't clear it away. Neither. It's just bouncing off United players. It's like pinball in there. Van der Beek tried to throw it through to Cavani. Eventually, it's cleared by Llorente, but Ayling is fouled by Van der Beek, and Leeds have a free kick. As we're heading into the final 40 seconds of additional time. He demands it right to the very end, doesn't he, Marcelo Bielsa? He does just seem somebody who's never satisfied. And then you look on the other side of the coin, you got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's very calm. He does look a little bit frustrated. He does often keep his emotions bottled up. And that is that. A goalless draw has played out here at Ellen Road. Leeds United have held out. Manchester United, of course, looking to close the gap even less on Manchester City, but are unable to really do so. The gap is closed down to 10 rather than 8. And you have to say it is a fair result. Leeds United defended well, limited Manchester United. Whilst Leeds' attack really wasn't there, they've shown against the big 6 side, of course, who threatened to break away last week and earlier this week from the Premier League, that they can hold their own and that they very much can equip themselves against the very best, as Andrea Radrizzani and Victor Orta, who of course are both on the Leeds United board, very much give their appreciation to the players. Full time at Ellen Road. It's finished Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much for that, Matt. And of course, it was going to be 0-0 on the back of the 8 goals that we got last time out, and the reverse fixture was always going to be 0-0 if that was the case. Yeah, that's a great performance from Leeds there defensively. Sort of resounds and solid, and really good performance. Their board of directors and all that are very happy with that there. And rightly so. Of course, they do move up a place. They overtake Arsenal into 9th as well. So it's a good result for Leeds. Of course, they'll be a point above the red side of North London. And it was a very battling performance from Leeds. And, they didn't really have too many opportunities themselves, but they limited Man United to, not having that many opportunities either. So it was a good performance there from Leeds. And as I said to you before, just at the very start there, it was always going to be 0-0 when we had a 6-2 in the reverse.
Yeah, it did have that feeling, didn't it, very early on, that this was going to be a 0-0 scoreline. I thought, to be fair, it was a fair result. Both sides really cancelled each other out in the game. You saw from Leeds United, whilst their attack really wasn't there, I think they sort of realised, sort of from 70 minutes that, they were going to be pretty content with a point. They were going to be happy to hold on to what they had. Manchester United just really wasn't there today. I think, to be fair, yes, it was off for them, but in terms of their general attack, they were really stifled well by Leeds, and obviously they closed the gap to 10 points. Could have gone down to 8. I think it's just one of those now that, they are just playing to just keep hold of second place, and just really, most of their season hangs on now the Europa League, which of course is a massive game for them on Thursday against Roma.
Yeah, 100%. And of course, if they were to go on and were finishing second in the Premier League, of course, if they were to go on and win the Europa League, then they've got to look at that as a good season. To finish behind Manchester City, yeah, fair enough. They won't be pleased that they're finishing behind their rivals, and rightly so. But at the end of the day, it's an improvement for them. And if they are to go on and finish second and then go on and win the Europa League as well, then that is still a very good campaign for Solskjaer's men.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's just about making progress, isn't it? Everybody knows that this is a long-term strategy United have got in place. And I think they've gone under Mourinho and Van Gaal, short-term game and then long-term loss, really, isn't it? Whereas Solskjaer is the other side of that. You can see what he's trying to build. He's got rid of a lot of players, and obviously he's got a team there that has got a few little faults, but is getting there. It's getting better. You've got Fernandes, you've got Greenwood, you've got Rashford. people in that team. Good, real quality players. A few more additions. They will be really competing with Manchester City. But it's just making progress. Finished second. It's a place up in the Premier League than what it was last year. And also as well, they can add a trophy, the first one of the Solskjaer, even better for the Norwegian in his second full season in charge.
Absolutely, yeah. And, we touched on Leeds just a moment ago, moving above Arsenal into 9th position, just 5 points behind 8th as well there. And, that's a good performance from Leeds and good defensive performance. You gave Pascal Struijk your man of the match. What were your sort of main reasons and what was your thinking behind giving it to him?
Well, I just think they knew that, obviously, with the attack United possess, obviously with Fernandes, who plays very high up at times, and you got Rashford, Greenwood, okay, Cavani didn't have enough time to make an impact on the game. I think he was only on for sort of, 5 minutes. Pascal Struijk did everything really well. He was well positioned. I thought him and Llorente looked really comfortable together. When they played the first game in December, Liam Cooper really struggled with the pace. And obviously, Leeds altered their style, didn't they, today, in terms of, not allowing the space in the midfield for United, which they're so good from in terms of picking out those passes for their runners higher up the pitch to really profit from and get in behind. But he did everything well. I thought, he was really calm out from the back. And he's a player, who's sort of just bit by bit and just been used slowly by Marcelo Bielsa, has really shown what a good talent he is and somebody who, is going to be a real first-team regular for Leeds in the next few years.
Absolutely. And if you look at Leeds, this season, if they are to finish 10th or 9th or, maybe sneak into 8th possibly as well, that is a fantastic season for them, back in the Premier League for the first time in 16 years. And, they've been, as you said during the stream, I think you mentioned that they've been a breath of fresh air as well. And they really have. They play some good football. They're very, compact in defence, sort of the midfield. Very combative in midfield as well. And then they've got the talisman and Patrick Bamford up front to get them some goals. So it's a very good campaign for Leeds. And I know, obviously, Russ and many other Leeds fans are pleasantly surprised to see them, doing as well as they are.
Yeah, I think, you've got to give them a lot of credit for that. Obviously, they haven't changed their squad at all. Obviously, Bielsa has very much continued the continuous theme throughout his squad for their return to the Premier League. Obviously, they've added really good additions. I think in Rafinha, who's obviously missing today, it's been a really good acquisition. You could almost say, Llorente hasn't really played enough yet to sort of be cast an opinion on, but what I saw of him today really impressed me. It's exactly the same again with somebody like Rob and Koch. But they've been a really good, team. They've really, been not afraid to play how they want to play. They've not changed their style. And obviously they've got a very talented manager who's gone into the Premier League, and has really stood tall against the bigger teams with the better players. And they've been absolutely superb, and they deserve full credit for the way they've been this season.
Absolutely. I think you should probably have said that he's sat tall because, obviously in the second half there, or was it the first half you mentioned, of course, Marcelo Bielsa has a very unorthodox way of managing from the touchline, but it works. So if it works, then why change it?
Absolutely. I mean, he's such a passionate guy, isn't he? He just demands so much from his team. Right at the end, the last 30 seconds, it's just a memory that's just sort of sticking in my mind. He's still demanding that they just get every last little ounce of energy. And he's just, a manager, not just for the final 10 minutes, but for the 90 minutes, isn't he? You've got to do the hard yards throughout. And if you, in any shape or form, don't perform to how he wants you to perform, he will let you know that, that's for sure.
100%. I was just looking at the fixtures as well for Leeds United. They go to Brighton next time out. Then they host Tottenham. Then they go to Burnley and Southampton before hosting West Brom. So it's a good running really for Leeds. Of course, the Tottenham game is the most difficult there on paper, but of course, football's not played on paper. But at the end of the day, if they are to pick up, maybe 10 or 12 points there, Leeds, then they really, could have an opportunity of maybe sneaking into the Europa League, depending on other results. And of course, if they were to beat Tottenham, that would be an interesting one as well. If they were to go on and get a result, I'm just trying to see Tottenham play next week in the league. They've got Sheffield United, so that's a winnable game there, which they should win. But it's an interesting one. And of course, I think Tottenham have a few other games. They've got Wolves and Villa and Leicester as well. So there's points there to be dropped for them. And Leeds could be that side potentially to take advantage. But, either way, even if they're not able to, then of course, there's not just Champions League and Europa League. There's the new competition as well, isn't there? Which I think would Leeds qualify for if they finished in ninth position.
Well, I think how the new system works is basically there's only 2 teams going into the UEFA Europa League. So if you looked at the current table, you'd obviously have the top 4 all in the Champions League, and then West Ham would be one of the 2 sides in the Europa League. And then obviously 6th place is currently at this present time being taken up by Spurs, I believe it is. Yeah, I've just got the table in front of me. Sorry, Liverpool. So it obviously mean they would be in the Europa League, and then Spurs, who would be in 7th, would be in the Conference League. So should they win this trophy today, that would definitely guarantee their place. But of course, if they finish 6th, then they're automatically in the Europa League. So there is an element of qualifying for a new competition for at least potentially. But I still, as I said earlier, I think it might be a bridge too far.
Okay, thanks for that. That's a good way of looking at it as well. I know Leeds fans, even just to finish mid-table would have been great for them, and they look like they're going to finish above that. So there's certainly no danger of them being, slipped much further down the table if they were to lose a few games. Just looking briefly at the Manchester United next lot of fixtures as well. They have Roma, as we mentioned. Then they've got Liverpool, the big game against Liverpool next Sunday before the second leg against Roma. Then Villa, then Leicester, and then Fulham and Wolves. So it's not an easy run-in for Manchester United. And, of course, they are trying to hold off Leicester as well, who have a game in hand. If they win that, they'll take it to just 5 points behind. And, Leicester, as I mentioned there, do actually travel to Old Trafford as well. So it could be an interesting sort of end to the season there. But we're going to actually wrap it up because we're going to head over to the other stream for the final in a moment as well between Tottenham and Manchester City. So we'll wrap up this one, and it has ended in a goalless draw between Leeds and Manchester United from at Ellen Road, and an interesting game. 2 very good sides, defended very, very well. Midfield, and no one really won the midfield battle. There wasn't loads of opportunities. Leeds were looking at possibly the first half where they could have had a penalty, but at the end of the day, that would have been very soft. And yeah, it was lots of meaty challenges as you'd expect between those 2 sides as well. But at the end of the day, it finished Leeds 0, Manchester United 0. You were listening to Matt Isles on Commentary Live, Football Commentary Live, and of course that was the Premier League. If you want to follow us, you can follow us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1. That's at, and then capital C for commentary and capital L for live, and then the number 1. And of course, there's the Facebook page as well, which is Footcom Live on Facebook. If you want to give the Facebook page a like as well, we have plenty of action for you for the remainder of not just today, but this coming week as well, with today, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday all full up. And we've got games coming to you on every single one of those days. So plenty of action to be tuning into. But yeah, you've been listening to Football Commentary Live, and in this game, it was Leeds United 0, Manchester United 0. As they said on the Sky, the draw of the roses. And yeah, good result for Leeds. They move up to 9th. Man United sit still in 2nd, 10 points behind their rivals, Manchester City, who, of course, will be bringing to you in just around about 10 minutes' time as they host, or not host, as they play out with Tottenham Hotspurs, I should say, in the Carabao Cup final. And of course, it'd be great to see fans back in attendance as well, with the 8,000 fans there being over at Wembley. So in this one from the Premier League, it finished Leeds 0, Manchester United 0, and we'll be back with the coverage of the big Carabao Cup final between Pep Guardiola's Manchester City and interim manager Ryan Mason's Tottenham in about 10 minutes' time. Thank you for listening, and come and join us again in about 10 minutes.